In this video, I want to go over the second set of exercises that I'm assigning from the end of Chapter B. This is Worksheet B. I'm assigning everything from exercise 4 through exercise 9. But I will talk you through how to do each of these exercises. Some of them are a little tricky. Exercise 4, my experience is that this is actually very difficult for students. So listen up and see what I have to tell you. Notice that some of these meter signatures are simple and some of them are compound. So the meter signatures that have a 2, a 3, or a 4 on top are simple meters, but there are a couple of these that are compound meters, the 6/8 and the 9/8. The example tells you about a 2/4 example, and if you were asked to write a duration of 5.5 beats, you would first think to yourself, well, this is a simple meter and the beat is the quarter note. So that's step one. You're specifically told to use the fewest possible notes along with ties where needed and to write a single duration lasting that number of beats and then include bar lines. 5.5 beats, if the beat is a quarter note, would look like 5 quarter notes tied together and then a half of a quarter note. So it would be a quarter note, 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 and an eighth note all tied together. That would be the correct duration, but we haven't yet done the using the fewest possible notes part. Because it fills up 2 measures plus a little bit of a measure, what we can do is take the first 2 quarter notes and combine them into a single half note. That's 2 beats. The next measure can also be 2 beats shown with a single duration, and then what's left is a beat and a half shown with a single duration, which is a dotted note. And that's the fewest possible durations. We would need to be careful and not do anything that would go outside of a measure of 2/4, and also we need to be careful not to obscure what the beat value is. And that's going to be particularly important in a meter signature like 6/8 or 9/8. Let's take a look at the 9/8 measure. This is an example of a compound meter. Next to where it says 3 1/3 beats, you need to write in parentheses compound and then write the duration which represents 1 beat. The eighth note divides the beat into 3 because that's what a compound meter signature tells you. And so the beat would be a duration of 3/8 notes. In other words, a dotted quarter note. So we write compound, dotted quarter note. 3 beats would be a dotted quarter note, a dotted quarter note, and then another dotted quarter note. And then the 1/3 beat would be an eighth note. And the bar line would have to come after the 3 dotted quarter notes. That fills up a complete measure, then plus an eighth note in the second measure. Now, we haven't quite used the fewest possible notes yet. The first 2 dotted quarter notes could be combined into a single duration so that we could have a dotted half note that was equal to 2 beats tied to a dotted quarter, which would be the 3rd beat in the measure, and then the bar line, and then tied to an eighth note. As I said, be careful not to obscure the beat. For example, you might think that you could fill up a measure of 9/8 with a whole note tied to an eighth note. It's true that that would give you 9 eighth notes total, but it wouldn't show you the way that the measure is divided into dotted quarter note beats. So the way to do it would be a dotted half note, beat 1 plus beat 2, tied to a dotted quarter note. See how you do with the rest of these, and particularly pay attention to the 6/8 example down here and be sure that you do that correctly, conceiving of it as a compound meter with a dotted value as the beat value. Exercise 5, you have 4 rhythms and you need to write an appropriate meter signature. Notice how the notes are beamed in these examples, and also notice where the longer notes are that might give you a feeling for where an adagic accent is. For instance, if you look at the first example here, there is a total of 6/8 notes in each measure, which is the same as 3/4 notes, which is also the same as 12/16 notes. Each of those fractions indicates the same thing. But this example is not just as good in any one of those 3 meters. It could be a 3/4, it could be a 6/8, it could be a 12/16, just based on the length of the measure, but only one of them is correct given how it's beamed together. Exercise 6 gives you 2 examples. One is in 9/8 and one is in 3/2. And there are mistakes in the way that the meters are shown, primarily with beaming, possibly with the way that longer notes are broken into 2 notes tied together. And I'm not sure, there could be problems with the length of a measure. It could be that some measures don't have enough notes or rests to make them correct. But it says that there should be a total of 8 mistakes. My suggestion is that you copy these on your paper the way that they're written, that you circle the mistakes in the incorrect examples, and then that you write a corrected version below it. Exercise 7 is a transcription exercise. And you'll recall from an earlier lecture that I did something like this with the music America the Beautiful. I showed America the Beautiful written in 4/4 time, and then also in 4/2 time and in 4/8 time. So what you want to do is to write this same melody. The original is written in 6/8, so that the beat is a dotted quarter note. You want to write the same thing in 6/16. Now the durations are going to be half the length, and the beat will be a dotted 8th note. And then you want to do the same thing in 6/4 time. When you do this, I'd like you to copy it out exactly. I'd like you to duplicate the dynamics and also duplicate the slurs. Exercise 8 gives you some examples of syncopation and hemiola. I believe that all of the examples of syncopation in this example are also examples of hemiola. So if you can find 3 examples of a hemiola in the 2 rhythms and draw brackets over them, you will have done the example correctly. Exercise 9 is similar to the earlier exercise. We have some incorrect notation that has incorrect beaming, and also in the second example at least, some examples of the beat being obscured by the way that a longer duration is written. Again, circle the errors and then write the corrected version below the example. That's it. That homework is due the next class period. And if you have any questions, please see me in one of my virtual office hours or get in contact with me by email. Good luck with it. Thanks.